Alright, today we're going to take a look at a watch that's familiar to me and most people with a small twist and variation to it. We're going to be taking a look at the SPB213. Here it is. Now I do say that it's familiar to me and a lot of people because I did do a review of the 143 variant, which is just the black dial variant. But I ended up selling that one, and this one stayed on my mind, and I was finally able to find it. This is a limited edition anniversary variant, and I skipped the unboxing mainly just because it is a standard box. But here it is. It's the 140th anniversary piece. Here's a reference number. I think Seiko did release a Seiko 5 variant of this, and I think the theme of it was white or silver dial with a bezel that's so dark it looks black, but it's actually blue. And hopefully right now when we take it out in the sun you'll be able to see that. But like I said, I did own the black variant of this, and I ended up selling it just because I just had too many black watches. And I'm a big fan of this style of watch where they're slim, sleek, white dialed tool watches. So if you do want to see that one, that review is in my channel. But the reason these became so popular is because Seiko seemed to finally offer a mid-level dive watch that wasn't enormous like these two here that have been dominating. These two lines have been dominating Seiko for the last maybe almost 10 years. So when these were released, it was a big hit. And obviously missing here would be the Sumo line, which is probably even bigger than both of those. And they finally released these with kind of toned down dimensions. So we're looking at a 40.5 millimeter case. That's very small compared to the other two lines here. We're looking at around a 13.5 millimeter thickness, which is pretty thin for a dive watch, 20 millimeter lugs, and a water resistance of 200 meters. Drill lugs. This is definitely a vintage themed watch with modern technology, which have been very popular just across the board in all brands. So it was nice to see Seiko release these at a relatively low price point of about $1,000 to $1,200, brand new. Though you are able to get them pre-owned for, I've seen some of them, especially the 143s, I've seen them sell for even $700, $800 pre-owned. So at that price point, they're great values, and even brand new, I do like them quite a bit. Bezel, action, strong. This is this hex. So you get that kind of standard Seiko good quality. Now this does come on a bracelet. The bracelet is over here. But if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I'm not a fan of this bracelet. Now the bracelet itself is not a bad one. It's relatively strong, it's sturdy. But to me it's just too thick, it's too unflexible, especially this piece right here. The extension is just too thick. I don't like it for this specific watch. I could see this bracelet coming on a Turtle or a Samurai, but for this sleek watch, this smaller one, I don't think this is a good pair. So naturally I took it off. I threw it on one of these Seiko straps, and actually I was able to get a hold of two more of them that I'll certainly be putting on there. And I do want to say that these straps are a huge step up from the previous ones. Now I'll be showing my age here, but I want to say maybe 10 years ago, those straps, the black ones with the strong ridges here, I'm sure anybody who's owned one knows what I'm talking about. Those were just so thick, so unflexible, and I really didn't like them. But these here, they're so, honestly, the complete opposite. They're very thin, they're very soft, and just super flexible. I think this is a pair that I'm going to keep on for a while. Mostly because it's so comfortable, and I think this is a great combination for, especially for summer. My only gripe about this is the stopper here. It's a little bit on the thick side. I'm not a fan of so much branding. You have the logo, Seiko. But really, it's in here's Seiko again. But that's not a deal breaker, I understand. And certainly this is, I might even say this might be the best rubber strap I've seen out there in quite a while. So I'll keep it on here for a while. But of course, my point is that this does come on a bracelet, though I don't think it's a good fit for this. Now, if you do want to see more details on this watch, I do have the other review. The main reason I did want to do this review is because I wanted to compare it to these two lines. First of all, the turtle line here. You can see the side by side. The turtle is just enormous. And like I said, I think this is a big reason why it hit so well on the watch community. Finally, we were able to get a line that competed and honestly is a little bit superior to these at a reasonable size. I do understand that robust type watches are robust for a reason, but something like this was just really needed and finally came. Now here's the Samurai, and the other thing I didn't want to talk about is the design. So with the Samurai, you are getting this very sharp watch in just about every sense, hence the name. You have strong bezel, strong lines on the bezel, rectangular indices, a very strong handset, strong sharp lugs here. To me, I always love this line because they're very un-Seiko-like. You have the old SKX line, even the turtles here, they're very circular. The case, you have a lot of curves, a lot of roundness going on here. Circular indices. The bezel is not as sharp. And to me, this SPB line hit the perfect middle ground. You have rectangular indices, but it's not, the handset aren't that sharp. You have a bezel that's very more on the turtle side than the Samurai side. The lugs are a little bit sharp, but they're not as sharp as a Samurai. You don't have this kind of this drop here. So really, besides the price point, besides the size of it, the design itself is a perfect middle ground that filled a hole in the Seiko diver market. So let's go ahead and try the lume on these and see how that is. Of course, we're comparing Seiko lume to Seiko lume. So yeah, of course, it's going to be fantastic here. There's quite a bit of light, and even then it's glowing really brightly. And again, it's not surprising at all. But even with the lume, you are able to tell that just the differences in design here. Very circular on the turtle side, case-wise, indices-wise. That's just not the case with this SPB. It's a good mix. Same thing with the Samurai. Very sharp. Look at that 12 o'clock. The handsets. Even the bezel. It's a nice contrast with the SPB. Of course, you're getting fantastic lume. Of course, we all know that. And really, at this price point, I think the SPB is a great mid-level watch. It's above price-wise than the other two, but I think this holds its own just about against any brand in the $1,000 and $1,500 range. So I'm going to throw it back on the bracelet to kind of do a wrist review, just because that's what it comes on and not everybody's going to have access to this strap. So let's see how that wears. Yeah, certainly I do feel the heft on it, but I am glad to have this outside to show the bezel. You really see the bezel shine here. And if you look closely, you can actually see the second hand is also very blue. I'm a big fan of this watch. I do think this is versatile enough in white and very dark blue to pass as even like a working watch to wear to work. But it's different enough to where it's not too too modest that it gets lost in the collection. Big fan of this. Let's see how long this lasts in the collection, but I do think it'll be there a while.